Joining us for more, former acting U.S. Attorney General Matthew Whitaker and the man who represented the Roe in the famous Roe versus Wade case back in 1973, Alan Parker, back with us. Gentlemen, good morning. Great to have you on.
Good morning.
Alan,
thank you.
To you first. It's good to see you again. What was your reaction to the news on Friday morning?
Well, it'll go down in my life as one of the greatest days of my life. I started representing Norma McCorvey, the Roe v. Wade, in the year 2000 in her legal efforts to reverse her own case. And if she was still alive, I think she'd be rejoicing today. And it's a great day for America. This is a great moral injury, and this is as great as reducing slavery, eliminating it, and eliminating segregation, which the Supreme Court did in 1954 in Brown v. Board of Education, after 58 years of Supreme Court approved segregation in America.
Yeah, I know your client passed away in 2017. General, President Biden will reportedly try to undo some of the Supreme Court's decision via executive order. What kind of power does the president have when it comes to something like this?
Very little, and good to be with you this morning. I think the action now shifts to the states. You had several states that have trigger laws that are have sprung into effect. One of the most interesting ones. I was just in Wisconsin over the weekend, and they have a law from the 1850s that criminalizes abortion. And I think it'll be interesting how their legislature and governor handle that. Their attorney general's already said that he wouldn't enforce it, and I think that is a terrible precedent, because as you know, we need an executive branch that enforces the law. If we don't have executive branches that are willing to enforce the law and do the people's work, then we have really anarchy, and the rule of law must be protected. But I don't think Joe Biden ultimately has much power, if any, to impact this opinion's ruling.
And very unusual, but also I think a great example of why we have three branches of government. Alan, to you, did you ever think this would happen?
Well, I have to say that I did think it could happen. I'm a person of faith. And Norma McCorvey became a Christian and gave her life to Jesus Christ, and we prayed about it immensely. And just like the Reverend Martin Luther King saw the end of segregation, the abolitionists of slavery were Christians. You don't have to be a Christian to know those things are wrong, and our arguments are based on science and law. But as a Christian, the Lord told us that this covenant with death, this agreement with the grave, that our Roe and Doe, the cases that brought abortion to America, in Isaiah 28:14-22, he said that he would end the covenant with death in America. And I think this is a great victory for God and Christianity, which loves life over death.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Are we choosing life or death? And we chose life. The Supreme Court chose life finally.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people watching right now agree with you. General, how rare, and we talked about this a little bit on Saturday, but how rare is it for the Supreme Court to reverse one of its own decisions? We don't see that very often.
Not very often, but the opinion has a long footnote that demonstrates that this is not an anomaly, that, obviously the court, through logic and reason and application of, how they interpret the Constitution, has overturned cases, separate but equal, and several other cases, sort of are lined up. But, both large and small issues, the Supreme Court can review, past precedent and, apply, their interpretation. What concerns me the most in all of this is, if you're the Supreme Court, you have had many different departments of justice, depending on who the president is, argue that either Roe is settled law and shouldn't be overturned, or that it should be overturned. I mean, it's a little schizophrenic how the Department of Justice, at the federal level, can't decide, which it is. And I think that's why I'm excited about this being restored to the people where it should be.
And General, it's the Supreme Court's job to interpret the law, not write the law. Is that accurate?
No, that's very true. And I think this opinion really puts it back in the box and doesn't create rights that aren't there. As Clarence Thomas famously asked in the argument, is where is this right in the Constitution, nobody could give him a good answer. And obviously this opinion demonstrates that.
Alan, final thought. You were there in 1973. Was Roe a legal mistake when it was written 49 years ago?
Absolutely, it was wrong. There's nothing in the Constitution about abortion. There is a right to life mentioned in the Constitution. In the 5th and the 14th Amendment, no person may be deprived of life without due process of law. I think we're going to be moving now to where eventually, after some controversy and some battles in every state, eventually abortion will be unthinkable and every state will protect human life, which is one of the essential functions of government. It's why we have government, to protect us from people who would otherwise murder individuals to get their own way.
Well, Alan
and I
Parker,
believe we'll see.
49 years later, congratulations to you, sir. That's pretty amazing. Quite a story. Thanks so much for being with us. Former Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, always good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you, Rob.
All right, we've got a lot more coming up here on Wake Up.